For over 50 years, Steve Martin has delighted audiences. From his beginnings as a stand-up comedian to his status as one of the best comedic actors of all time, Martin's films generate some massive laughs. Today, we will review the best Steve Martin movies and why we love them. Steve Martin, fresh off his record-breaking hosting stints on SNL, made a cameo in The Muppet Movie as a disgruntled waiter. He had previously appeared opposite The Muppets when he hosted The Muppet Show in 1977. The Muppets have a history of bringing in recognizable celebrities for cameos in their films, and Martin was already a household name by the time The Muppet Movie was released in 1979. All of Me is a body swap comedy where Martin plays Roger, a lawyer and jazz musician who puts his career first on his 38th birthday. When handling the will of eccentric heiress Edwina goes awry, Roger and Edwina end up sharing his body. Despite some problematic portrayals, the film is worth watching for the chemistry between Martin and Tomlin and comical moments of Martin imitating Tomlin. In Roxanne, Steve Martin plays Charlie, a fire chief with a big nose and a way with words. When Roxanne moves to town and likes Chris, Charlie helps make Chris seem smarter. Unlike the play Cyrano, Roxanne focuses on valuing someone beyond looks. The film also has a more satisfying ending than the play. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a relatable comedy about the nightmare of travel mishaps. Steve Martin's character, Neil Page, desperately tries to make it home for Thanksgiving, with John Candy's character, Del Griffith, as his unlikely companion. Their journey is filled with endless obstacles, bringing them closer together. This Thanksgiving classic is a must-watch. Don't miss Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, a heist comedy set in the French Riviera, starring Steve Martin and Michael Caine as rival con artists trying to swindle a soap heiress. With a talented cast including Glenn Headley, this film keeps viewers guessing. Interestingly, it was remade in 2019 as The Hustle with Anne Hathaway and Rebel Wilson. Check out the trailer for a hilarious scene not in the movie. Three Amigos reunites Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short as a trio of fired actors who receive a job offer in Mexico. They are mistaken for heroes and asked to stop a bandit. The movie is similar to Galaxy Quest in its parody of film genres and mistaken identity plot. It strikes a perfect balance between absurdity and heart. 1979's The Jerk is a top Steve Martin film and one of the funniest ever. Martin shines as Naveen R. Johnson, a naive character who narrates his life story. The movie's enduring appeal lies in its memorable quotes, like, "Someone must really hate these cans." The 1950 film Father of the Bride gets a remake with Steve Martin as George Banks, a father struggling with his daughter's engagement. With clashes with in-laws and a quirky wedding planner, George's wife, played by Diane Keaton, brings balance. The conflict is all in George's imagination, but the family dynamics and Kieran Culkin's performance save the day. Father of the Bride Part 2 is a rare exception to the rule that sequels rarely live up to their predecessors. George Banks, now a soon-to-be grandfather, faces the added stress of his wife expecting their third child. Despite the repetition of gags from the first film, the charm of the sequel remains intact and even feels less stressful than the original. The 1999 comedy stars Steve Martin with Eddie Murphy and Heather Graham. Murphy impressively plays two roles, while Martin's performance as the straight man is commendable. Despite not being widely recognized, Bowfinger has gained a cult following, making it one of the best Steve Martin movies. Cheaper by the Dozen, with Steve Martin as Tom Baker, is a beloved family comedy for millennials. Tom, a college football coach and father of 12, moves his family for a new job, resulting in a heartwarming story of parental stress and the kids' trials. This film is a delightful nod to the early O, starring teen idols Piper Perabo, Tom Welling, Hilary Duff, and Ashton Kutcher. Nancy Meyers movies provide cozy comfort with stunning kitchens and enviable issues. It's Complicated follows Meryl Streep's Jane, torn between her ex-husband Alec Baldwin and Steve Martin's character, who is renovating her house. This refreshing love triangle showcases older characters with grown-up children, and a star-studded cast.